Today I'm going to do something a little different for the geophiles. Something outside of just being somewhere out in the middle of the woods in the field or someplace as awesome as Greenland. We're going to do a little bit of urban geology on the building you're looking at here. And as far as I can tell, this building is the furthest building south made of this red rock you're going to see me explore in detail. Hey everybody, December 17th, 2022. Some people might think it's a bit cold out, but it's nice. Today I'm taking you to the LaPorte County Courthouse in Indiana. Now, there's a lot of cool history and stuff like that here. I'm here for the geology. You might be like, geology, LaPorte, Indiana? What are you talking about, Steve? Talk about the building itself. Now, the building itself was built in 1892 and has been added on to since, and you can totally tell what's been added on to because it's just crap brick. But let's look at the building itself here, the actual old building. When you look at this, what do you notice about it right away? You notice the color. Does this color remind you of anything? Now, these are not man-made. This is cut stone. You can tell by the cut marks here and here. Does this look like anything to you that I may have talked about before in the past? Any of this? It should. It's the old Lake Superior sandstone, specifically one of the formations of the Jacobsville group, that pre-Cambrian clastic sandstones that filled the mid-continent rift after the rift failed circa 950 million years ago or whatever. It's younger than the Frida, which is probably right at or around 1 billion years ago, although some of it could be Frida. You might be like, well, how do you know, Steve? Because the lithology is very distinct. In addition to that, it also says on the plaque in front of the building that it's the Lake Superior sandstone, this Arcosic sandstone. Now, the reason why I'm pretty confident this is Jacobsville and not Frida, although some of the stuff here looks like it, is because of the fact that we know this was mined on the Bayfield Peninsula in Wisconsin. Quarried, mined, same thing, which makes it the old Bayfield group or the Jacobsville group now, and specifically probably the upper formation, which is Checkamagnon, I believe is how it's pronounced, but that I don't know for sure. It could be the Orienta, the basal Orienta. It's definitely not the Devil's Island. The Devil's Island formation is the middle one. That's a quartz arenite. And there isn't too much of this rock that looks like it's quartz aranite. As a matter of fact, none of it does, except for maybe what we see down here below the Lake Superior sandstone. I'm not sure what that is, but it's definitely not Lake Superior sandstone. Could be Cambrian or something like that. It is cut rock too. It also is not brick or manufactured. Well, let's look at some of the sandstone in detail and see if we can pick anything out from it. Now you look at it here, it's going to be a little hard to tell because this is my phone I'm recording this with. Let me go over here where there's less wind. But you look at it and you see the red. The red's primary. That's iron oxides in with the sandstone because it was largely a terrestrial deposit. Now you can see in places here where it breaks off, it's becoming sand again in places, and you can tell it's kind of mostly coarse sandstone. Now this stuff is decently indurated, but it's not really indurated. I wouldn't have ever chosen this rock for building stone for any long-term buildings. Now, this building is 130 years old as of right now. I doubt they probably thought it would even last this long, but here we are 130 years later and it still stands. But work's going to have to be done to keep it from just flaking off like this. It's called friability. All sandstone is friable to some degree. What that means is its likelihood to flake off like that. And this stuff's friability, once it's initially removed from the ground and quarried, is not very friable. But over time, snow, rain, frost, freeze cycles, all that stuff eats away at this building. Something else we noticed too is we noticed the lighter colors within it. That's a leaching out type effect. This rock, when originally deposited, was mostly red in color. It brought the iron oxides with it. Later groundwater moving through it would take some of that iron oxide out just by moving through the rock, because this sandstone is pretty porous, which also makes it very susceptible to physical weathering like frost freeze-thaw cycles and just being pelted with rain. Plus the sand is arcosic, which means a lot of the grains are feldspar grains. They aren't quartz grains. Feldspar is susceptible to chemical weathering over time, because the weathering of feldspars via action with water is how we get clay on Earth. And you can see here, this is just a matter of time before this flakes off. Here we have a part that already has. But if we come to this stuff here, what we see is this is also cut stone. These columns are cut. They aren't molded from some sort of mix. They're not a brick or anything like that. And I just think those are really cool, and they're better preserved because of the big overhang, so they aren't as susceptible to weathering as the rest of it. And I just think it's real pretty. And here you can really see the grain size really well. We have some great facade up there, and let's look at it. This building is epic in so many ways. The architecture. Had to come back to the east side of the building here because it's really windy on the west side and the south side. But you look here and you can see the magnificent architecture, just the carved stone. It takes a lot of precision and craftsmanship to carve sandstone and not have it break and fall apart on you. Now, on occasion I see stuff like this. There's a recessed part, and we come in here and we can see the sandstone. It's a lot more like it was originally roughly cut out to make the nice bumpy facade. Not the precision cuts, but the rough cuts, probably done with a hammer and chisel. I don't know what used to be here. I have no idea. It seems like this would have been made to put something in, maybe a sign or something like that. This is the east side of the building, but I'm facing north. But you can still see a lot of detail in the sandstone here. Anyway, I think that's it. Thanks for coming with me on this, guys. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and I hope you learned something.